Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato Samma sambuddhassa. Yatinda kilo pataving sitosya chatubhivatehi asampakampiyo tatupamang sappurisang vadami yo ariya sacchani avecca pasansati idampi sanghe ratanam panitang etena saccena suvanti hotu. Venerable Chief Nayaka Hamduro, Venerable Sirs, friends and children in the Dhamma, good evening and welcome for our Saturday regular Dhamma talk. We are continuing Ratana Sutta, the Jewel Sutta. Buddha says, the one who is established unwaveringly on the Four Noble Truths, this individual is just like a city post, unshakable by the four winds blowing from four sides. Now Lord Buddha, in this verse, uses the simile of a city post in the kilo, yatin the kilo, yatha in the kilo. In the kilo literally means Indra is the divine protector of the Hindu tradition. Kila is the post. Indra's post or Indra's pillar is what is meant by this term Indra Kila. Now, in commentaries, this Indra Kila has been explained as a sturdy post, a pillar, about 8 to 10 meters long, buried on the halfway in the ground firmly, so that nobody can shake this pillar. And this pillar represents the protection of the city. But there is no further explanation how this pillar protect the city, but we can assume, we can guess that this pillar must have used for sacrificial purposes, to bind those animals who are brought to sacrifice. This pillar must be the utility for that purpose. So this pillar represents something of Indra, the protector, the divine protector of the mankind, for those Hindus in those olden days. And therefore, this pillar is something unshakable something unwavering in the vision of those people in those cities. So Buddha used this simile to explain something extremely important in the spirituality. That is the first step towards the enlightenment. The stream entry. The one who has attained to the stream entry, what kind of confidence he contains within him towards the Buddha as his sole and only master, towards the Dhamma that the Buddha taught, towards the Sangha, the fellow wayfarers in the path of the Dhamma, and towards the practice. Such a strong, sturdy, unwavering confidence is created when someone attains to the first stage of sainthood, known as the stream entry, Sotapanna. So this verse is about that doubtless confidence that arises in the heart of the stream entry, and Buddha compares that confidence to the city post, Indrakila, saying that both these Indrakila and the confidence in the heart of the stream entry towards the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha and the practice is equal. Yathinda kilo pataving sitosya, as if a city post firmly fixed in the ground. Chatubhi vatehi asampakampyo. Asampakampyo, unshaken, unwavered. Chatubhi vatehi, the winds blowing from the four directions of east, west, north, south, as if this firmly fixed city post is unshaken, no matter how powerfully, even in the force of a gale, these winds might be blowing, but still this city post, this Indrakila, this Indra's post is unshaken, unwavered. Such a stability there. Yatinda kilo pataving sitosya chatu bivate asampakampyo. Now this is the simile. Now this simile is compared to the person Satupamang Sappurisang Vadami. I say, Vadami, I say, Satupamang, such also, such is the Sappurisa. Sappurisa is normally, generally means somebody good. In the Mangala Sutta, Sevana cha balanam panditanam cha sevana. Pandita is the word used for Sappurisa, noble person, in Mangala Sutta. And Pandita and Sappurisa is equal in meaning. But here, the Sappurisa has a different meaning behind. That Sappurisa is the one Yo ariya sachani aveccha passati. Yo, whoever, aveccha passati, unwaveringly observe, confidently observe, unshakably observe, aveccha passati, Ariya Satchani, noble truths. So whoever observes the noble truths without being wavered, without being shaken. Shaken from whom? Shaken from other teachers, other masters, who were teaching all sorts of different religions at that time in India or any other time in the world. That means this person who is shaken by other religious teachers simply shows that he has no steadfast confidence towards the Buddha. That's why he is shaken. That's why he is wavering. In his heart, in the corner of his minds, there is a vichikicha, the doubt. Now Buddha says the doubt is a hindrance for the first stage of sainthood. Because once you have entered into the stream of Sotapanna or stream of sainthood, that is Sotapanna, you have to destroy the three defilements of Sakkaya Ditthi, Vichikicha, Silabbata Paramasa. Vichikicha, the doubt, one of the strongest defilements within us. So doubt cannot exist in the heart of an individual who is noble, who is never shaken by any other teachers, but firmly fixed in the teachings of the Buddha. His absolute confidence towards the teacher, the Buddha, the Dhamma, the Buddha taught, and the fellow wayfarers, the Sangha, is absolute, and he is fully committed to the practice. He has no doubt at all. Now, in Buddhism, Buddha doesn't talk about faith much, but faith is there. Faith, translated, you can say Saddha. Also translated, it means confidence. Saddha can be faith and confidence. But it is not a belief. Buddhism is never a belief. What is a belief? Belief simply means, I don't know. You don't know. That's why I believe. Like a blind man, believe light. He can be believing light all his life. But a singular fact remains intact, which is that he will never see light. Only the belief. In that belief, he will argue, he will counter-argue, he will write books, he will write philosophies on the light. But he will never see the light. Why he is creating so much of barriers around him? So much of ramparts around him, walls around him to protect his belief. To protect his belief, he can be aggressive. He can be fighting with others. One word against that blind man's belief, he can become a martyr, a, a suicide killer. He can protect, he can destroy other people just because a simple word against his belief. Why somebody becomes so angry when somebody else say something counter to that his belief? Because he himself has doubts about it. If I believe something, it means I don't know in the first place. I don't have any experience. That's the meaning of it. If I have experience of it, if I have seen it, I don't even have to use the word belief on it. I know it. So somebody believes something. In that believing itself, there is doubting. That's why people get so irritated when someone else present counter arguments against that belief. People get angry. But in Buddhism, the faith is there, confidence is there. Remember, that confidence always in the first place, not at the end. The confidence towards the Buddha and his teaching is a mandatory necessity. This necessity must be there. This necessity should be fulfilled. It must be met with for you to start your journey towards the Buddha. If somebody doesn't accept Buddha has been enlightened, and his teaching is leading others to enlightenment, if somebody doesn't have that confidence, that saddha, he will not come to the Buddha in the first place. He came to the Buddha with that confidence, with that saddha, with that faith that Buddha got enlightened. He is supremely enlightened, and he can guide others to the enlightenment. That confidence works, functions, manifest at the beginning, not at the end. Once you have reached to the goal, that confidence find no no grounds there, because you are already there. You have become what the Buddha asked you to become. You are independent now. You are your own master now. Until you become your own master, you need a certain confidence towards the Buddha and his teachings, and the confidence towards yourself that you can also achieve what the Buddha achieved. And Buddha can guide you. His teaching is guiding you. That confidence starts your spiritual journey. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't stop at that point itself. It has to be the driving force, not the ending position, not the end, but the beginning. So Buddhism, Buddha's teaching is about getting rid of the darkness of the ignorance. When you are getting rid of the darkness, what you have to do is bring the light in. What can you do with the darkness directly? Nothing. But you can do something with the light. You can bring the light in. When you bring the light in, more and more the light you bring in, less and less darkness will be surrounding you. This Dhamma brings the light in. So the ignorance of the darkness, or darkness, which is called ignorance, starts dispersing. Then the truth is appearing. What is the truth? Arising, vanishing, arising, vanishing. Nothing else is there. Hence the first noble truth, dukkha ariya satya, the noble truth of suffering. Buddha says, birth is suffering, birth is a misery, death is a misery, beginning is a misery, end is a misery. In between this birth and death, getting old is misery. Getting sick is misery. Not getting what you desire is misery. Association with the ones you don't like, a misery. Dissociation from the ones you love is a misery. In short, these five aggregate, or another word, this body is a misery. The five aggregates: form, feeling, perception, formations, and consciousness. This whole body, this whole life, moment to moment, moment to moment, arising and vanishing, arising and vanishing. It is true in the enlightened master, the Lord Buddha, and it is true in the scientist's vision. They say this is a mount of cells. The scientists say. Buddha says this is a five aggregate. That is the spiritual scientist, the Lord Buddha. The material scientists, the biological scientists, they say this is a mountain of cells. These cells arise, give birth to a new cell, and die. How fast? Moment to moment, moment to moment. At the speed of a blink of an eye, at the speed of a lightning, at the speed of a snap of your fingers, these cells arise and vanish. And what the Buddha found? Buddha found, if you hold on to, if you try to be attached, if you try to crave, if you try to be clinging on to these phenomena, which is arising and vanishing from the moment of birth to the moment of our death. If you try to hold on to them, only the misery is there, nothing else. The real misery arises. Real misery begins with our clinging on to the things which is just arising and vanishing. Then Buddha presents the second noble truth. dukkha samudaya ariya satya, the cause of suffering, cause of misery, the noble truth of cause of misery. In your life, you may be experiencing thousands of misery, but remember, cause is one. That is tanha, that is attachment, craving, clinging. Buddha doesn't stop there. Then he gives the third noble truth. You destroy this cause of misery, you destroy misery. The third noble truth. Dukkha nirodhariya satya, the noble truth of cessation of misery. And then he introduced the technique, introduced the course of practice, the schedule he introduced, the eightfold noble path as the path of the cessation of misery. Dukkha nirodha gamini patipada ariya satya. The Four Noble Truths. How does he start observing these Four Noble Truths? When he start observing the arising and vanishing phenomena, this is not learning, this is not listening, this is not reading, this is observing. Through what? Through the vipassana jnana, through the knowledge that arises in the special observation, based on the meditation technique called insight meditation, vipassana bhavana. One who have observed this arising and vanishing phenomena, he is established in the Four Noble Truths. Yeah. That person is the one who is called, has entered the stream which is flowing towards Nibbana. He is called the stream enterer. Yo ariya satchani aveccha passati. If somebody observes, passati, observes, aveccha, unwaveringly, ariya satchani, noble truths of misery. Why misery is a noble truth? 3 reasons. Foremost one, this is taught by the noble-most individual who has ever existed on this earth, the Lord Buddha. Because he taught this truth, it is noble. In the past, thousands and thousands of people who followed the teachings of the Buddha and practiced upon it, they attained to the nobility, to the higher stages in the supramundane path by understanding, experiential understanding of these Four Noble Truths. That's the second reason. Third reason, you yourself could become noble by understanding these Four Noble Truths. So they are not just noble as they are because of their comprehension, clear comprehension of these noble truths become a supportive factor for one to become noble. That's why they are called noble truths. Now, in the Dhamma Sutta, the first ever discourse of the Buddha, when the Buddha was teaching these Four Noble Truths, what happened? There were 5 human beings. Kondanya, Wapa, Baddiya, Mahanama, Saji. Only 5 to listen to the Buddha's first sermon. And Buddha was teaching these Four Noble Truths in all sorts of different manner. He was teaching. What happened? Imasmincha panaveya karanasmin banyamane. While this explanation of the Buddha is going on, Virajang Vetamalang Dhamma Chakkum Udapadi. Spotless, immaculate Dhamma Chakkum, vision of Dhamma Udapadi arose. What is this Dhamma Chakku? Yang kinchi samudaya dhammang sabbantang nirodha dhammang. If there is a phenomena that arise, Dhamma means here phenomena. Sabbantang nirodha dhammang. That is a phenomena which is going to vanish. This arising and vanishing, for him, whoever himself and around is there, everything is nothing but the phenomena of arising and vanishing. To whom? Ayasmato Kondanyas. For the Venerable Kondanya. His vision of I arose while he was attentively listening to the Buddha. His wisdom has developed so much. He had so much of parami. So as Buddha was explaining the Four Noble Truths, his vision for this arising and vanishing, vision for that absolute, eternal, everlasting truth, his vision arose to that truth. That is how it is explained he attained to Sotapanna. Stream entry. So Buddha says in this stanza, such a beautiful Dhamma. Yeah. Yathinda kilo pataving sitosya. Just as a city post fixed firmly in the ground. Chatu bhivatehi asampakampiyo is unshakable by the four winds. Tatupamang sapurisang vadami. So too I declare in the virtuous person. Yo ariya sachani avetcha pasansati. Who sees noble truths unwaveringly. Idampe sanghe ratanang panitam. This too, a great jewel in the Sangha. Etena satchena suatanti hotu. By the virtue of this truth, may there be peace, may there be well-being. Ye ariya sanchani vibhavayanti gambhira panyena sudesitani inchapite honti busappamanta nate bhavang attamang adiyante idampe sanghe ratanang panitam etena satchena suvanti hotu. This 9th verse also connected with the 8th verse. So these two verses are kind of connected to each other. Therefore, we thought of explaining together these verses for our clear comprehension. Now, in the first verse, Buddha explained the consciousness of the stream winner. What kind of confidence? Like the post of Indra, he is unshaken, he said. Now in this verse, Buddha explains the destiny of the stream winner. Right? He says, Ye Arya Satchani Vibhavayante. Those who clearly comprehend the noble truths. Vibhavayanti, clearly comprehend. As I said, it is with the disperse of the darkness of the ignorance. When that ignorance is dispersing, the truth is revealing itself. The ignorance is what is the veil for the truth to hide. The truth is there, but ignorance is covering it. When you are removing this ignorance, the truth reveals itself. That's why in the suttas we can find the Buddha's words are good enough to most of those people who listen to him to unveil this ignorance. Yeah. That's why many people, after listening to the Buddha, they compliment the Buddha's teaching as if it is like turning upright what has been overthrown. It is like giving a lamp for somebody who has eyes to see. It is like showing a path for somebody who has been lost. Such enlightening was Buddha's words. Yeah. So if somebody's eyes become opened to this Arya Satcha noble truths, ye Arya Satchani Vibhavayanti. If somebody clearly comprehend these noble truths as they are, Gambhira Panyena Sudesitani. Gambhira Panyena, deep wisdom, omniscient wisdom of the Buddha. Now, when you read the suttas in the Tripitaka, you can find not only Buddha's teachings are there, his disciples like Mahakachana, Mahasariputta, Moggallana, Venerable Ananda, all those noble arahants, those arahant disciples, they also gave Dhamma talks, they also gave sermons, they also taught Dhamma. But nobody got opened their wisdom eye. Nobody became Sotapanna while listening to those students. There is no such a mention there. Only when they listen to the Buddha, their eyes to the Dhamma opened up. Because Buddha's omniscient wisdom is the only source where the disciples can open their eyes to the truth, can see the noble truths clearly. So, Gambhira Panyena Sudesitani. This is taught by a deep wisdom. That deep wisdom is the omniscient wisdom of the Buddha. That omniscient wisdom is the source where these Four Noble Truths started exhibiting for the world. These Four Noble Truths are there, but they were hidden. Buddha's wisdom brought them back to the open, to the light, so that people can see it. Gambhira Panyena Sudesitani. Sudesitani, well explained, well proclaimed, well taught. Gambhira Panyena, with the one who has, by the one who has a deep wisdom. It is the Buddha. It is the Lord Buddha with his omniscient wisdom, he taught this. Now, this idea explains another thing. Though it is not mandatory, Sotapanna, the first stage of the stream entry, first stage of the sainthood, the stream entry, most of the people mentioned in the suttas have attained to this first stage of stream entry by listening to the Dhamma. It is hardly we can find suttas explain that people attain to this Sotapanna by meditating. But it doesn't mean that only by listening to the Buddha people can attain to Sotapanna, because after Buddha's passing away, the world was not empty of arahants. World was not empty of attainers to the supramundane levels. After Buddha's passing away, there were. Because the path is already explained. Anybody who is willing to walk on this path, they can walk on that path. And they can attain to those stages. So, Sotapanna, these stream winners must be even there, even in these times in the world. They attain to that stage through meditation. By cultivating, by practicing, since they had their fulfillment of parami in the past also. So not just listening to this Buddha, people can attain to Sotapanna, but since in the Tipitaka, what they have gathered is Buddha's teaching. When the Buddha is giving a teaching, they memorized it, by hearted, and they passed those teachings to other generations. Ultimately, they were written down. So only the teachings are included in these suttas. So it is not mentioning anybody who attained to Sotapanna by meditating. Only the people who attain to Sotapanna by listening are mentioned here. This Sotapanna has two meanings. One is, of course, entering to a stream, to a river, you can say, to a flowing of a river, which is going to end up in the enlightenment. That is the first meaning. The second meaning is, Sota is ear, Apanna is falling into the ear. Now, both these meanings are significant. One is explaining the path. He is entering into the stream. This stream I have explained earlier in talks, that this stream is nothing but the Eightfold Noble Path. One who enters into that stream, it is called entering into the Eightfold Noble Path. Yeah. Now, such a person has no coming back. His Gotrabhu Chitta, or the lineage of consciousness, has completely reversed to a different path, different route. He has no coming back to the worldly or to the normal human being's existence. He has gone beyond. It is a never returning journey. He has fallen into the river. Whether you swim on it, whether you work hard to swim all the way to the ocean or not, whether you become lazy after falling into the river, you have no stop. You have no any other alternative but to go to the ocean. Sooner or later, at the most, once you have entered into the ocean, into the river, at the most, there will be 7 lifetimes. You can be hanging around in the river. Yeah. So in the verse says, Ye ariya saccani vibhavayanti gambhira panyena sudesitani kinchapi te honti busappamatta. Even if they are very negligent. Now those who have entered into the stream entry, if they happen to become being born as kings in the heavens or reigning as a king on the earth or become a universal monarch, Chakravarti Raja, these status can become impediments and so that they become negligent. They won't practice hard because these are very alluring, very attractive status. So commentary says, if somebody after attaining to the stream entry happen to become such elevated, great positions, that person bound to become, or there's a possibility to become lazy in his practice. Though he has the seed in him to become enlightened faster, yet because of his negligence, busappamatta, very negligent, kinchapite, even if they, busappamatta, being very negligent, nate bhavang attamang adiyanti, they do not have an 8th rebirth. They don't take upon 8th rebirth. It means by the time of the 7th rebirth, they must have flown into Nibbana. They must have attained to Nibbana because their path is already changed. So therefore, there are triple ways that a person attains to Nibbana after becoming a Sotapanna. If he doesn't attain to the other stages of sainthood in that very life itself, that person who attains to Sotapanna could become an Arahant in the very next life. He is called in Pali Ekabiji. And he could become an Arahant in the 2 to 3 lifetimes. In 2 to 3 lifetimes, he can become an Arahant. They are called in Pali Kolang Kola. And these people, these rare individuals who become very negligent because of, as I said, attaining to higher status in the world, becoming kings in the heaven and earth, because of their negligence, they will take 7 lifetimes to attain to the stage of arahanthood. That is how it is explained. Now, why Buddha says this? That if somebody become very negligent after attaining to the Sotapanna stage, he will not have 8th rebirth. It is to point out such a irreversible salvation, liberation one receives with the achievement of the destruction of the fetters of Sakkaya Ditti, Vichikicca, Silabbata Paramasa. False ego, Sakkaya Ditti, doubt, Vichikicca, and Silabbata Paramasa, adherence to rites and rituals. Now, if somebody attains to these stages of Sotapanna, he has other perks also. That he will never be born in Kama Dugati, sorrowful realms of sense pleasures. Hell's Niraya, he will not be born. In the animal realm, he won't be. In the realm of Asuras, he won't be born. And in the realm of ghosts, hungry ghosts, Preta, realm of Pretas, he won't be taken birth. So he will be always born in Kama Sugati, blissful realms of sense pleasures, Rupavachara Bhumi, fine material realms, and Arupavachara Bhumi, immaterial realms. So if he takes 7 lifetimes, these 7 lifetimes will be spent on these triple realms of Kama Sugati, Rupavachara, and Arupavachara. And moreover, he will not be committing any kind of 5 heinous crimes. What are the 5 heinous crimes? Matricide, killing mother; patricide, killing father; killing an arahant; shedding blood of the Lord Buddha; and creating a schism in the Sangha. Yeah. These are the 5 heinous crimes. He won't be committing these 5 heinous crimes. So such a assurance is there for somebody who attains to the stage of Sotapanna. Yeah. This is his destiny. This is how his life works after that attainment. So Buddha says, Idampi Sange Ratanam Panita. This is a jewel, supreme jewel in the Sangha, in the community who attains to this stage. Etena Satchena Swati Hotu. By the virtue of this truth, may there be peace, may there be well-being. So these 2 stanzas, first one explains the psychological, the mental states of the Sotapanna, that his stability, that his permanent, unshakable confidence towards the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. Just like Indrakila, the Indra's post, the city post, which is unshakable by any kind of winds. No one can shake the confidence in the Sotapanna person. That's the idea. Then Buddha says in this verse, whosoever attain to this Sotapanna stage If he works hard, he will be attaining to the Nibbana in that very life. If he couldn't attain, probably in the next life itself, he is called Ekabiji. In 2 to 3 lifetimes, kolam. And if he become very negligent, he will attain to the stage of enlightenment by 7 lifetimes. He will not have 8 lifetimes. This is the meaning of these 2 stanzas, 8th and the 9th. Let's go through again for our better comprehension a bit. Yathinda khilo pataving sitosya. Just as a city post fixed firmly in the ground. Chato bhivatehi asampakampiyo is unshakable by the 4 winds. Tatupamang sampurisang vadami. So too, I declare, is the virtuous person. Yo ariya satchani avetcha passati. Who sees noble truths unwaveringly. Ye ariya satchani vibhavayante. Those who clearly comprehend the noble truths. Gambhira panyena Sudesitani, well taught by him, of profound wisdom. Inchapite honti busappamanta, even if they are very negligent. Nate bhavang attamang adiyante, they don't take up an 8th rebirth. Idampe sanghe ratanam panitam. This is indeed a supreme jewel in the Sangha. Etena satchena swatante hotu. By the virtue of this truth, may there be peace. That's enough for today. Let's share our merits. Together with the departed ones, together with Devas. May they all be well, be happy. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita huntu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita huntu jnatayo. Idam me jnatinam hotu sukhita huntu jnatayo. Akasatta cha bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu lokasasanam. Akasatta cha bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu lokasasanam. Akasatta cha bummatta devanaga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakkantu lokasasanam. Blessings for you. Dukkha roga bhaya vera soka sabbe upaddava anekantaraya vinassantu cha tejasa. Jaya siddhi dhanam labham sotti bhagyam sukam balam sthiriyayu cha vanno cha bhogam uddhi cha yasava tatavassa jayu cha jiva siddhi bhavantu te ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti mevacha ato nibbana sampatti Iminate samijjatu. sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.